Sometimes, the biggest heroes are not the ones on magazine covers or standing under bright lights. Sometimes, they're just kids, tired from work, drenched in rain, who see someone in pain and simply don't look away. That's what happened one rainy afternoon in a quiet town outside Chicago. The day a 14-year-old boy named Noah Reed changed two lives forever. The rain had been falling for hours, turning the park into a swamp of mud and puddles. Beneath an old oak tree, a small wheelchair was sinking slowly into the wet ground. Inside it sat Eli Walker, a 10-year-old boy whose legs had never worked since the day he was born. He was alone, his thin arms shaking as he tried to push the wheels free, but the mud clung to them like glue. "Help!" his voice cracked, barely louder than the storm around him. A jogger passed, then another. A woman with a stroller looked his way, then turned her eyes down. To them, he was invisible. Just another problem someone else would handle. But no one did. 50 feet away, his caregiver stood under a tree, laughing into her phone, oblivious to the boy sinking deeper into the mud. That's when Noah appeared, soaked to the bone in his grocery store uniform, shoes ruined, but running anyway. He didn't hesitate. He didn't ask for permission. He just saw a kid in trouble and acted. Noah didn't come from money, the narrator continues. He came from a small apartment on the east side, where the paint peeled off the walls and his grandmother's medicine bills were stacked higher than the TV. At 14, Noah had already learned what responsibility meant. He worked every evening after school to help his grandmother, Evelyn, who had raised him since his parents died in a car crash. He didn't complain. He didn't ask for much. All he wanted was enough to keep the lights on and food in the fridge. That day, as he walked home from work through the rain, he could have taken the long way around. But he chose the park, the shortcut, the one that would save him 20 minutes. He had no idea those 20 minutes would change his life forever. When he saw Eli, he didn't stop to think about ruined shoes or a broken phone. He threw his grocery bag aside and ran straight into the mud. "Hey, hang on, I got you," he shouted through the rain. Eli looked up, terrified and shivering. "My wheelchair's stuck," he said weakly. "I can't move my legs." "It's okay," Noah said softly, already working. He tried pushing the chair, but the wheels were too deep. He used sticks, his hands, even his shirt to get grip, but nothing worked. Then, without a second thought, Noah made a choice that would stay with him forever. He looked Eli in the eyes and said, "Wrap your arms around my neck. I'm getting you out of here." Eli hesitated for only a second, then nodded. He trusted this stranger completely, because in Noah's eyes, he saw something rare, genuine kindness. Through the mud, through the pounding rain, Noah carried Eli in his arms. His muscles burned, his shoes slipped, his heart pounded, but he never let go. He didn't stop until he reached a wooden bench under a tree. He sat down, still holding the boy close, shielding him with his own body. Eli's lips were turning blue, his teeth chattering. Without a word, Noah took off his hoodie, the only jacket he owned, and wrapped it around the boy. "Here, you'll be okay," he whispered. "Your family will come." Minutes later, headlights cut through the storm. A sleek black car screeched to a halt. Eli's father, Richard Walker, a successful businessman, ran through the mud, his expensive shoes sinking into the ground. "Eli," he cried, falling to his knees. "Are you hurt?" Eli clung to Noah, refusing to let go. "He saved me, Dad," he whispered. Everyone else walked by, but he didn't. Richard looked at Noah, this muddy, exhausted kid holding his son like he was family, and felt something shift inside him. Gratitude, respect, and shame for all the people who had looked away. Later that evening, Richard insisted on driving Noah home. Noah tried to refuse. Pride had always been part of who he was. But his grandmother's words echoed in his head. "Baby, Sometimes help is just another word for kindness. Don't turn it away. So he said yes. When they arrived at Noah's small apartment, Richard finally saw the truth. The cracked walls, the near-empty fridge, the old woman lying in bed, her breath shallow. Noah rushed to her side. "Grandma, I'm home," he said softly. "This is Eli and his dad. I helped them at the park." Evelyn smiled weakly. "Oh, honey," she said, "you always had your daddy's heart." Richard stood quietly, watching the love between them, the kind that didn't need words, the kind that money could never buy. For the first time in years, Noah didn't know what to say. He'd spent so long surviving that the idea of living felt foreign. He looked at his grandmother, her frail hands trembling, her eyes full of hope. She smiled. "Baby, sometimes angels wear suits. Take the help. It's time for your miracle." 3 months later, the halls of Riverside Academy buzzed with noise and laughter. Eli rolled beside Noah, talking about their new science project. They were inseparable now. The billionaire's son and the boy from the broken apartment. People stared at first, curious about the unlikely friendship. But soon, they didn't just see a kid in a wheelchair and a poor boy from the city. They saw two friends who had saved each other in different ways. One afternoon, as they sat under that same oak tree in the park, now dry and green, Eli turned to Noah and said, "You know, that day you didn't just pull me out of the mud, you pulled me out of loneliness too." Noah smiled. "And you reminded me that doing the right thing is never wasted, even if no one else is watching. The world is full of noise, deadlines, money, pride, distraction. It's easy to walk by, to look away, to pretend someone else will help. But sometimes, the smallest act of kindness can rewrite someone's entire story. Because kindness doesn't just save lives, it connects them. So the next time you see someone struggling, remember Noah, a kid with nothing who still gave everything. Because real heroes don't need capes, just a heart that refuses to walk away."